alive, guys.
Did we make it?
Kind of.
These things come in handy.
That's just perfect for the introduction. Hey everyone, welcome to today's or tonight's stream, whatever your time zone is. We have a special guest here. Welcome Laz from Music Therapy Laz, or Mac Laz, because
or
it's
Metal.
St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, yes, right. Mick, Laz, and Maximus.
And his bird Maximus, yeah. Thanks for joining.
Where's he hiding? There he is.
He's so cute.
Hey Philip. Hey Charles.
We have the first ones joining. Thanks for joining us, Philip and Charles. So yeah, today's topic is gear that we've sold, that we maybe regret selling, why it had to go, things we did not regret selling, which others might think, yeah, why? How could you let go of something like this? And yeah, in general, also our behavior on the used market. If there are things we would never buy on the used market, things we would only buy new, or things we would never buy new. So
a lot of topics.
yeah, it's a broad spectrum. So
There you go.
I think the topic once came up when Martin and I was talking about all the gear we accumulated in our time as guitarists, and we found out that I had much more gear, which I got rid of as well. So Martin has a different philosophy. He buys the stuff he wants, even if it's more expensive. So he doesn't buy the cheap stuff like I did, for example. He always goes straight to the real deal. And just to jump right in, I bought an Epiphone Les Paul Studio, a red one. It was already used. Then I sold it again. I bought an Epiphone SG, used, sold it again. And now I have a Gibson Les Paul Studio and a Gibson SG. So yeah, just as examples. Never buy a used talk box. Yeah, that's a good advice.
that's
Especially
very
not in
valid
these
advice.
times.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe just change the tube.
Oh, that's another whole box you're opening there with tubes at the moment.
The tube. Well, yeah, the tubes is another thing to consider.
Yeah.
When we're talking about buying, selling, trading, news. Well, I have an interesting bit of news in the regards of buying and selling, because I think the topic's title was 2021, and I did no selling at all. I bought and just bought and kept buying.
For the economy.
I didn't stop buying. I even got some free stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So there were no sold items, but 2022, unlike the year of 2021 was the year of buying, this year is going to be more the year of selling. It is going to happen.
So what exactly did you sell recently?
Me? Nothing.
Yeah.
Not a single
But the
thing.
year's still young. The year's still
But I
young.
have sold items that I can talk about that weren't sold in 2021 that are great guitar stories, if you want to hear those. So, yeah.
Sure. There's one particular thing I know you've sold and I'd be interested in.
Oh.
Which
What
one?
was
So
that?
that's the 68. I think you had the deluxe and you sold it.
No,
And
I didn't. I kept it.
you kept it.
Yeah. I have the 68 Deluxe. I ended up buying an 87 that originally belonged to Brian S. Guitars, and he sold it to Ben Coombs, and I bought it from Ben because he wanted to buy a 68. I mean, he wanted to buy an 87 Deluxe, and he sold me his 87 Deluxe. I mean, his 87 original. Getting it all confused. So that he can buy the 87 Deluxe, the 2-button one.
Didn't you sell the 68 to
No.
Jack the Rabbit?
No, I let him borrow it because he wanted to try it out. So
Okay.
there's a video of me taking it to him where he wanted to
I
try it
remember
out.
that one.
He
I
didn't
remember
like
that
it.
one. He didn't like it?
No, he didn't like it because he says it was too fizzy for him. And I said, yeah, it sounds like a plexi. That's exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a plexi. It's got that, it's got that plexi thing. I mean, what I think is amazing about Lawrence is that not only does he nail the tone, but he nails these eccentricities of the tone that some other people miss. and I think that's why he's so good. I mean, Friedman's another guy like that with the BEOD. I mean, that the Brown Eye, overdrive. I mean, that basically is the Brown sound. Is why that has that name kind of.
Yep.
But that is that same kind of a thing, Similar knob layout too. I don't know if Friedman likes I think he might have thrown it out there a time or two that there are some people out there basically copying his thing, but obviously some of this is reverse engineering, some of it's not.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So what about you guys? So Martin, what did you sold a bunch of stuff, but I mean Lucas sold a
I
bunch of
did
stuff,
not-
but you didn't really, huh?
I didn't sell much stuff actually. I was really lucky early on to have lots of things I could try with friends who played guitar. So I could make up an opinion on many things. What I would like, the things I like, and the things I want to go for. Let's make you.
Yeah. Oh,
Is that the number
this is
9
for
who
Pooh.
is referring to?
This is for Pooh. This is number 9.
And how much for that?
$1 million.
It's a discount.
Exactly.
Oh,
Here's
the
a Henry
neck
Pauly
looks
signature.
awesome. I love
It's a
the
roasted
neck.
neck.
On that one. So
Number
nice.
9.
Cool.
Or #G for guitar. Congo paw right there. And yeah, it has that roasted maple, gorgeous,
really nice flame, as well.
Yeah, and then on the fretboard, of course, you've got even more of a flame. It's insane the amount of flame on that fretboard.
Oh wow, yeah. That's
I got a
really-
really nice one. And look at how it just kind of dives right into the flame of the maple veneer on the headstock.
Who is willing to pay $1 million hairs
Doll hairs, of course.
or dog hair? I don't know.
Dog hairs. Could be dog hairs.
I think he has
Yeah.
dogs, so maybe that
It's
works.
a really unique guitar because it has the push pot.
Is
you
it
know.
is it blue or green? I thought it's more
It's green.
but it looks really blue
It's
here.
got a greenish blue, so that's that whole
Or
kind of hanging
turquoise.
thing. Yeah. Not
But
that
I like
not
it a
that
lot.
kind of turquoisey blue. It's more of a greenish kind of color, and I really love it. And the purple pickups, of course, even though they're the Roswell, they're
That's
still decent. But if I were to want to change anything on here, it'd be the bridge and the pickups, obviously. But other than that, I changed nothing because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, but then again, where do you get purple pickup covers, right?
You get them custom made by Vinum Pickups out of Canada.
Okay.
Our friend Craig Vinum, who made me
Okay.
the
Or
set of
Lucas.
pickups that I'm going to be putting into this. So the guitar that we were talking about in the green room,
Or
because
Martin,
it is St.
you wanna
Patrick's
reuse
Day. It's
them?
the green room. This is my Sonic Blue. It looks white, but it's Sonic Blue with mint pickguard, blacktop
Solo-
strats.
Solo again. It looks completely white here.
Right? Yeah, but it's definitely blue. If I hold it up
Yeah,
against the white
there's
guitar,
a-
you'll see.
There's a small hint on it.
Yeah, it's Sonic
Yeah,
Blue.
cool.
so
Yeah,
it's
now
okay.
you can see it on that angle. Yeah,
Yeah,
right now.
right there, like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see that there's a small hint of blue.
Right. If I hold up a white guitar, you'll really see it. But anyway,
Who texted that he put Graphics saddles on his one?
Oh, did he?
on the
Okay.
HP.
nice.
Sure, that helps.
That's a good idea. That would be one way to improve that bridge. But it's a stamped metal, stamped steel bridge, so it's probably pot metal, But this has the Pau Ferro neck, fretboard that is, I mean, and it's really nice.
That
Look at
looks like rosewood. It's extremely dark for
Yeah.
Paul Ferro.
right?
That's
Yeah.
cool.
That's a nice Power Ferro fretboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're a bit hit and miss. Because
Yes.
the Meteoras with the Pau Ferro fretboard, I
I
don't
remember
like
that. Yeah,
to be
I didn't like
honest.
it either. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they're
this
too
has the
pale.
Vega Trem system in it, which, if you could see with the right lighting, if I can angle it correctly, it's got
Because
that
Martin,
Fulcrum
you-
style.
Martin, you said you like the bluish, what's it, Bel Air blue Meteor,
Yeah.
but the fretboard is just not helping.
Yeah, it's just it looks like the fretboard is not properly maintained this pale to me.
Yeah.
But it's obviously the wood. It's not not the flaw of the fretboard itself, but that's the impression it gives on me. It's like
And Kirko Kaleidoscope Kaleidoscope.
Kuriko Kaleidoscope.
Kaleidoscope. Yeah, good question. So that guitar, there was no question, but anyway, that guitar is a beautiful guitar, and you will not believe how much I paid for that. You will not believe. I bought it brand new from, I think it was at that time, it was maybe
Is it a
American Music
Mexico?
Supply. It's
Made
made
in
in
Mexico.
Mexico. The blacktop strats were the beginnings of the Player Plus stuff and all that, right? And this was a 2012 model I bought in 2014 for $450.
Wow.
So putting that $200-something Vega trim in it did not, make me feel bad. And that's
Was
the
it
one
new?
that I'm going to do the Super. Brand new. I actually sent
Brand
two
new.
back.
Wow.
I did, as we call a J. Hannon, twice. I sent two of them back because there were finish issues. And
Okay.
this is the one that I'm going to be doing all the mods for. That the whole idea of the Mod Squad show started out of wanting to mod this guitar and then do other kinds of small mods.
Oh.
And so this one is going to get a new pick guard with the Vinum Rampage 80s style double cream. So they're DiMarzio style looking double cream, very, very hot pickups in it. And I'm putting a one of those super, button, like game button type Tessie switches in it. So it's going to be like this super duper Strat, but without a locking nut. It's going to have, the Vega trim, and it's going to be pretty wild. It's going to be a pretty wild guitar when I'm done with it. No aesthetic
That's cool.
changes other than that the pickup's going to be double cream. So you can imagine the double cream on this mint pickguard with the sky blue. It's going to be pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce said, if I don't like, if I like a darker fretboard, if I couldn't stain it. Yeah, but the thing is, it's not really an affordable guitar, and you don't really know the outcome of it. And I'd be hesitant on this.
I would be as well. I saw in a video by Chris Barocci that he recommended this fingerboard oil.
Yeah, there's the Stu Max stuff. Is that it?
And this one makes it darker, apparently. It says natural oil, optimal care for fingerboards. Yeah, it's by Sandberg. So maybe this one's dark.
Sandberg is just as good as stuff. Yeah, that's a similar brand.
I just got it new. I haven't used it yet, but I will try it on my Rode One Strat, which also has this power ferrule. It looks pretty. It looks okay. I like it. I prefer the maple neck on Martin's 50s Rode One because I think the wear on the maple just looks much better.
It's pretty amazing how these. Is that one of the made in Mexico Road Worn?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played one of those just the other day at Guitar Center, and the way they roll the edges over and everything, they do a great job on those. I think those are a real bargain of a guitar, considering they're just like a well worn in, played on guitar. The way they feel.
Yeah, the neck is awesome. Yeah. Martin, now you can solo me for a second. I just grabbed mine. That's Paul Ferro as well, but it's pretty light.
Yeah, that's lighter. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. So I try it with this fingerboard oil, and I hope it gets darker. But
I know that some people use gunstock oils, but that's an Eddie Van Halen thing, and his necks got dark just from playing on them. That's another thing you could do. Gunstock oils.
Try that afterwards, maybe.
True oil is also gunstock oil, essentially. So that's
it's pretty much the same kind of thing.
Pretty much the same kind of thing. That's what I used as a finish on my kit guitar.
On the PRS one.
Yeah.
I just want to highlight this comment by Charles again. He wrote that he sold his PV Bandit 65 in order to buy a Spark 40. We know for a fact that he bought the Spark used as well, and he got it for a great price. And he was waiting quite some time to get it, and now he has one, and he's pretty happy. And I think it's a really cool tool. Do you have a Spark, Laz?
No. What I do is when I want to play, like in the living room or do something small, I use that new Mustang Mini headphone amp. Have you guys?
I have that one as well.
Yeah, and I take that with me to the store sometimes when I want to jam. If somebody else is playing and I want to hear a guitar, I have it with me in my pocket, and I just plug my earbuds into it, and it works great.
And the good thing is you have a reference.
Martin, do you want to tell what we tried yesterday with the Mustang mic?
You tried to mic it?
It's Martin's crazy ideas again.
No.
I was his Yeah, I was
Well,
experimenting.
we had a request or a question on one of
Uh-huh.
our videos where Lucas showed how you can use the micro with a speaker where you get the micro with the headphone jack into an aux in.
Yeah, I was
But
Yeah,
thinking that you could probably use an auxiliary
it
cord and
works.
go
Yeah.
into. Why wouldn't
it
it?
works,
Yeah.
but you have to be careful because the the microphone amps usually can get too much voltage and power
Yeah.
for an aux in. So you don't crank it, just keep it at
Mm-hmm.
the moderate volume, and it should be fine. Yeah, and the question was, can you use the Mustang Micro like this with a wireless unit? And I was thinking, yeah, why not? You would need to have an adapter on it. And then I got the idea. Well, pretty much what can you use as an adapter to test it? And got the idea to use the tuner pedal. And I asked Lucas, go try a tuner pedal, and
The bypass
just
mode.
yeah, just like that.
Exactly.
And the second thought was, and while you're at it, try it with the pedal board.
Well, yeah, it'll work.
It
Why wouldn't it?
works.
Yeah,
It
why wouldn't
worked.
it?
The Mustang
And-
Micro as a pedal platform, it was insane.
It works.
But
I mean,
Really
it
good.
basically
So-
has the Mustangs, that it doesn't have all the circuitry, but it has, just like the modern cell phones now have way more packed into that small amount than, say, 10 years ago or 5 years ago. So the Mustangs that were out, 10 years ago, they were the shit, as they say in America, which means good thing.
yeah, that's the hot stuff.
It's the hot stuff. Yeah, it's the shit. But
It's
anyway.
not shit, it's the shit.
Yeah, it's the shit.
The
That's
shit.
right. It's the. Yeah. But what's funny, absolutely, But what's funny is I remember back then when the Vox, what is it called, the VTX 40 or whatever. I bought one of the.
Plus.
Yeah, I bought the 40-watt one, and I gave it to that intern kid, that friend of mine, Nick. I've been kind of, inspiring him along the way to, be like me. No, I'm kidding. But just to, get into music and have something to grasp on in life, because he was grasping at straws. But the bottom line is that it's a fantastic kind of hybrid tube amp, those Voxes, and they have a really great pedal kind of setup there too within their smartphone thing.
I have a VT40 Plus as well.
Yeah, great amp.
And actually, that's one I'm considering selling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Did you buy a Spark?
2 years ago, yes.
Okay, well that's why you haven't played it, because you're using the Spark. I mean,
Yes, exactly. I haven't played it much. If I go for a little bit more volume, I have now the AC15. I have
absolutely.
the JTM, obviously, if I want to go really nuts. Both can work as a pedal platform as well. So I don't really use it. Currently, it's in the office as a replacement for, actually, PA.
Working as a speaker or PA.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it's working as a
A mono,
as a PA.
a mono speaker.
Yeah, but I did not really understand why that one was not as much praised as the Katana, because I like the sound on it.
I think it blows
more,
the
to be
Katana
honest.
away.
Yeah.
If you tweak the tones, especially, and for example, one of my favorite tones in there is that Soldano type setup there. It is so nice. It has got that crispy, crunchy overdrive rock and roll sound in that little package, because it has that little tube. And I don't know, you guys have played like the blue guitar thing and stuff. Even though it's got micro tubes, it still makes a difference in the way it feels when you play it. I mean, you guys know my amp setup here, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Let me kind of fade for everybody. Put the big screen on so they all see. I don't know if they can see. So over there, I have a Roland Jazz Chorus 90 from the mid 90s or late 90s, and that's known as like a studio weapon for a clean tone with chorus or whatever. It has the stereo chorus, and it has a couple Roland, not the Jensen, but Roland 10-inch speakers in it, stereo. So not real stereo, but stereo. Then over here, of course, I have the 5150 80 watt that can go to 40 watts with a switch into the the vintage 30s in this orange cab. And then I have the Vox AC30 CC2, which again is, loud for a 30 watt amp.
Oh yeah.
And then over there in the corner, I have the Blackstar HT Studio 20. I mean, I pretty much got everything that I'd want in amps in a room outside of what you might do through IRs and whatnot. And then I have the Carvin Legacy Vi head sitting over there on that 4x12. When this room gets all done, it's going to be all set up really cool. And then I have a pair of vintage 30s and the what's the other speakers I got? Oh yeah, I got vintage 30s and greenbacks that I'm going to put in there, aka Dave Freeman cross pattern style or whatever, the way he does it. So the way he sets up his cabs is the way I'm setting up that one to run either any of the bigger amps, but I can run anything into it, but the Carvin or the Van Halen amp I could run into that. So I mean, yeah, if you're like a musician that really has a certain sound that you're going after, you might want that particular head or amp or whatever. But I could, with the pedals I have and all the effects you can get online nowadays, I think Amplitude and some of these others, not to mention, I've got the Stomp. I mean, there's no tone I can't get close enough to where I'm happy with, let alone for a recording. And today, the way most recordings are done, most people listening to them through a smartphone or whatever. I mean, there's no hi-fi anymore unless you have a hi-fi system in the room like I do. I actually have a hi-fi setup that I'm going to have in here, which is going to be nice to use as a reference outside of the speakers in the car and everything that you use for reference when you record. But back in the day when I had a studio in the 90s, I didn't do a lot of, recording and nothing of note, But I know a lot about the equipment and good amps and good sound and good pre's and all that kind of stuff. And that was at the dawn of the digital age when I was using Cakewalk Pro, basically doing all the stuff that you do in a DAW, but as a sequencer. And then we put the live tracks of guitar, bass, and whatever into it. But I did all the drums, even a lot of bass stuff and keyboards, all through digital sequencing software like Cakewalk Pro back then, and then just mixed that down through a Mackie board into Session 8 and into ADATs. It was a weird setup. Today, you do it all on one laptop or a phone.
Yeah.
It's much easier.
So,
the Vox VT40 Plus is something that I'll be selling, but it's a really great amp. It's nothing against that amp at all. I was thinking of having it as a backup amp because you can really use it for pretty much anything as well, and it gives a fairly good JTM sound as well as you mentioned, the pedal platform. Obviously, the Vox tones in it are
just spot on.
Really spot on. So, yeah.
If you like any of that kind of stuff, like I really like, the Strokes and bands like that, Arctic Monkeys. I'm going to be seeing, as a matter of fact, another show outside of the show tonight. I'm going to the Daughtry show with Tremonti tonight. Some of you might know. And I almost wasn't going to be able to go because of but I've been cleared. The bottom line is I'm going to be seeing Interpol at the end of the month at the Greek here, which is an outdoor place at Berkeley. So the Greek Theater in Berkeley. And I've seen some great shows there. I've seen UB40 with the Fine Young Cannibals opening for them back in the day. I mean, we're talking about some great shows. Third Eye Blind I saw there. They were fantastic. I mean, so many good shows there. But yeah, Interpol is another one of those bands that's that Vox sound, even though I think they use Fenders too for some of the stuff. Yeah,
it's really classic rock things. You can play on those really well, and they have, what I really like about the Vox is this chime they have.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you had one of the, because you guys are talking about stuff you sold last year, do you have one
Not only
regret?
last year in general.
Oh, in general,
In
do you have a,
general, yeah.
what's your biggest regret sale?
As Let me start because I don't have so many things that I've sold.
Before you do, let me just say
Oh yeah,
we have to have some of the Irish whiskey here to cry over these items that we sold that we wish we could have back. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour a little bit. It's the first opening, first time ever.
that's a good
I've
one.
never,
I
I've
have a Scottish one though. I'm sorry.
that's okay. I went out and bought this today just because Ireland.
Ireland.
And I actually
So
started a list of famous rock musicians that are from Ireland or Irish descent. If you guys want to have time for that later, but it's up to.
Sure.
I didn't finish
Sure.
the list.
The bonus, St. Patrick's bonus.
There you go.
Cheers.
cheers.
Got a nice flavor actually. Wow, I'm impressed. For a $20, I just took one
Total
sip.
to boller.
Go do bo ba do do do. A $20 bottle, not bad. It's got a nice
And it
flavor.
hits really fast.
80 proof, man. 80 proof.
So yeah, the first thing that comes to my mind that I've sold is the white Epiphone Les Paul Custom Pro.
Was
It
that
was-
a Les Paul? What
Yeah.
did you say?
Yeah,
Les Paul custom.
Was that the Arctic white? The Arctic
Yes,
white? So
it
that
was
was the
dark.
one like Steve from Boston has one of those, right? The gold
Yep.
parts?
Yeah,
The
with
Randy
gold parts.
Randy Rhodes Les Paul.
Yeah,
Nice.
with the Jimmy Page wiring in it.
Nice.
Yeah,
Dang.
that one. It had a neck break, but I got it fixed. But in the end, for some reason, I did not really bond with it.
Yeah, it happens. Oh.
And I had
Then you sold
this
it for the
guitar.
right reason.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because at that time I played with it for I think 2 years or something like this, and then I got my 335, and from there on I did not really touch it anymore.
I was gonna say, from then on, you didn't look back.
Yeah, and that was the point for me to say, well, it was a good guitar, but it has to go because I'm not really playing it. So where's the use in keeping it?
Should I go next?
Yeah.
Sure.
I prepared a list.
Oh my god.
No, it's not that bad. I just want to run through the stuff quickly and then go into the things I maybe regret a little bit. So guitar-wise, I sold a G&L Legacy. That's the one made in Indonesia. A set. That's the Tele one in butterscotch blonde.
I have
That
that
was a-
thin line version. Keep
It's-
going.
The G&L Legacies are pretty nice
Yeah.
guitars, but the reason, okay, I need to go into detail. The reason I sold it with a bunch of other guitars because I wanted to get the Fender Baja Telecaster. So it was trade 3 guitars in and buy the Baja. That was
There you
the
go.
deal. And the other
That's
2
a
guitars I
tough
traded
deal.
in. I paid extras, but yeah. Still,
Dang.
but I got the G&L at the deal. I bought it used, so it was
Oh, okay.
alright.
Yeah.
I also traded in the Epiphone Les Paul Studio, I mentioned before, and a cheap Harley Benton Telecaster knockoff with 2 humbuckers, which I picked that one up cheap, and traded it in. So that's not too bad. And I sold 2 acoustics as well. I had my first proper acoustic guitar I bought for myself. Actually, my first guitar I bought when I started playing again as an adult. There was a Fender CD something. It was an all mahogany dreadnought guitar with a cutaway, and it was a nice guitar. But I upgraded to a different guitar. I bought a Chord acoustic, a Grand Auditorium shape, which I played more. But I also sold that one because I now have 2 Takamine acoustic guitars, and I like those better.
I have a Takamine. It's great. That's that classical one that I play
I
outside all
have
the time.
the Paula one here, and the Dreadnought is in the back. That's the one Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen also play, the black one with the white binding. So I'm set when it comes to acoustics, and that's why those 2 had to go. Amp-wise, I sold a Marshall DSL 40 combo, and I just sold it because it was way too loud with the 40 watts. It was just, too loud. And I replaced it basically with the DSL 20 head of the newer series. So I think that was a pretty wise choice because I like the newer version much better. I think the DSL 20 is a great sounding amp, and I think I paid 450 euros for that one, and I got around 400 for the combo I sold, so that was not too bad.
And there was another reason you sold that one. You said it was too trebly.
Exactly. It was the Series 1 from the reissues, I think, and the head I have now is like the version 2, and I like the EQ on this one a lot better. And amp-wise, I picked up a Blackstar 8 HT1. I think you have the HT20. You said I had the HT1 combo.
That's a nice little one. Yeah.
I had the small one. I bought it used and sold it again because I didn't use it. I had 2 katanas. I had a Boss Katana 50 and a Katana Mini, and the Katana Mini had to go because I got the Spark and the Mustang Micro, which I preferred a lot because of the Bluetooth and all the sounds in general. Katana 50 had to go because I was never using it, and it was replaced with the Deluxe Reverb Tone Master. So that's also
quite some upgrade, I would say.
It had to make room for an amp I wanted more, and I bought and sold a bunch of pedal used. I don't want to go into detail there, but of those guitars and amps I mentioned, I only sometimes regret selling the G&L because it's a really good guitar.
They're great guitars for the money. But you can buy another one about that price. That's the thing.
I have 2 Tellys now, Laz.
There you go. So why? Yeah. But if you wanted another G&L, you could get another G&L at a good price. That's what's good and bad.
I could make it a broadcaster for you.
There you go.
A G&L broadcaster, ASAT, whatever.
All right. Well, I guess it's my turn, but it's not something I sold recently. So let me see if I could go to this real quick. I'm trying to find a way to do this.
My stuff was not all recent.
Quickly.
That was the last 3 years, I would say.
Okay.
3 to 4 years.
Well, I'm trying to find a picture of this, but on my homepage of my channel, you see this.
It's a guitar. Is it?
Yeah. No.
Lawler pickups or what is? No, noiseless. What is it?
Fender sensor. So.
Lace sensor.
Yes.
Sensors.
So back in 1996, when I had that studio, the other guitar that I had was this one. This is not mine, but this is one that's being sold or has sold.
Ooh.
And this is let me do it this way. Oh, they flipped on me, of course. So this is the authentic Gibson Super Strat SR71.
That's a
Wayne
Gibson.
Robert Charvel. Yeah, it's a Wayne Robert Charvel designed Super Strat guitar that's authentically Gibson. And as you can see, it has one switch at the top that goes directly to the humbucker. The little mini switches.
Yeah.
And then each one of those you can toggle on or off each pickup. And you've got volume at the top and tone at the bottom. And it has a Kahler Spider bridge with an ebony fretboard and a maple neck. The WRC on the truss rod cover means Wayne Robert Charvel, and it's got a scroll Gibson gold logo. And it was stolen.
Oh.
So that one was stolen from me after I'd sold it to my cousin Joe. I sold it to my cousin Joe for $1. Basically, he was borrowing. I got married, and I had to get rid of all my musical gear because my ex was just, anyway, we won't go into that. But thankfully, my daughter has some musical talent that she gained from me, and she plays violin, and she's a wonderful person. And that's who I bought the DC Deluxe guitar for, that powder blue one. I'll never sell that. I'm going to probably take that with me and give it to her, whether she learns to play it or not. I hope she does. But she can sing. I think probably sent you guys that video or a chunk of that.
You sent me one on Instagram.
That's nothing. That's just the beginning of the song.
Was the clip you sent me.
Yeah, that's the beginning of it. Later, she starts to get like into it, and just, I mean, it's just so amazing how she just, just does it. But I'm hoping she'll learn to play the guitar, being someone who can play the piano and play the violin. But the story about the Strat is that, well, I'll tell you the story about, I sold that guitar to Joe to hang on to it for me and take care of it, and someday I'll want to buy it back from him for $1. So it's kind of a Trading Places, another movie themed kind of a thing. If you've never seen Trading Places with Eddie Murphy, it's a classic Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy comedy. It is like these are.
I think I know it. I think in German it has a little bit a different name, but
right.
We always have weird titles in Austria and Germany. So
So that guitar was stolen after I got it back from him. I took it to a place here in Palo Alto called Griffin Stringed Instruments that does really good lutherie work. And the guy who worked on it and set it up and cleaned it up and fixed it up and oiled it up, because it was all parts were rusty and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So he took a nice job of taking care of that. But that one had the old Kahler Spider bridge, and I never had a problem with that bridge. That thing, I used that in that studio back in the 90s a lot. But I needed something that wasn't as hot and so, heavy metal, even though that had the single coils, and that could pretty much do everything. And because you could switch the pickups on or off however you wanted to, you can get any combination that you wanted, basically. It's pretty interesting setup.
Pretty much the Brian May Red Special approach.
Exactly, but with just little toggles, so you could see when it's on or off, and it's super easy. Just flip, 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 flip. It's right there.
He has also the out-of-phase switches for each of them.
That's the one thing that makes that guitar so unique. That's another one of those that I played one at Norman's Rare Guitars at 2020 Crashing NAMM.
A Brian May model.
Yeah, one of the cheaper ones, not the copy. They started making those new ones that are actually sanctioned by him, and they're around $800-900. I was surprised. Okay. Really, really great playing guitar, actually. But what happened is I wanted something else. I've always wanted a Strat. You see Strats everywhere, and I like playing the bluesy kind of stuff like you guys, So I went and bought an Eric Clapton model, but it had that mid boost thing. And at that time, I didn't know Jack, as we say in America. I didn't know Jack, about guitars and amps and stuff. And I was playing through, I was playing through a Roland preamp called the GR100. It's like a little gold rack with black knobs, single rack space preamp effects module. Because I couldn't afford back then what was the big thing with those Yamahas or whatever, those, even Tides. That's what everyone like Vi and all those guys were using. But this thing, got a close enough sound to rock and roll for me going straight into the board. And we were warming up the sound with an ART microphone preamp. It sounded great. So, there are tricks. There are studio tricks. And how many times have you heard people recording famous recordings with a guitar stuck straight into a board, right? Because their pre's are so good or whatever, right? So the thing is you can always layer the effects on top. And so I come from that background of the old school of mixing where you don't worry about your sound up front almost always, because you can always add it on. And that's what they do nowadays with reamping and all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I wanted something different feeling. I wanted something that had a different feel. I didn't like the V-shaped neck of the Clapton model. And it was that beautiful seashore gold color too, by the way. I just love that kind of silvery gold color, sparkle. I took it back and I'm like, I don't want it. And I'm like, can I have my money back? And they're like, no, you can't have your money back, but we can get you something else. Why don't look at this catalog. And there was nothing in the store I wanted. So they said, well, here's the catalog. You can basically put your own guitar together. So this was like right at the end of 95, beginnings of 96. And the Fender Custom Shop just started after that. So basically what I got was a custom shop Fender for $800 in a tweed case, set up exactly the way I wanted. I had no idea, but I chose everything that I thought would be the best, and it turned out to be exactly the same as the Jeff Beck model. Exactly. Exactly. And I'm like, whoa, I saw a Beck model.
Crazy
I'm like,
coincidence.
look at that. But what I did was so cool, the way that I did that the setup, the color, the pearloid and everything, and that yellowish color back then. They originally wanted to call it nicotine white, but because of all the anti-smoking stuff in America, they couldn't call it nicotine white because it's supposed to be like the color of a white guitar that had been in bars with nicotine smoke, getting it yellow. That was, what caused that. Not just the aging of the nitro, that too, but it was the absorption of the nicotine, and you could smell those old cases. You ever buy an old, Martin knows, you buy an old vintage guitar, you open the case, and what does it smell like? It smells like smoke.
I don't have a case with this one.
Okay.
So
if you did, it would smell like cigarette and cigar smoke because musicians played in bars, and so
everybody was smoking.
People used to smoke and drink in the office at lunch. They would drink.
Well, in Germany, in Bavaria, it's still right to have beer at work.
There you go. I agree with that. So to finish the story, I'm dragging on the story as usual. To finish the story of that Deluxe Plus Strat, it came with the gold lace sensor pickups. They sounded great because those original lace sensors were really good. Those mid 90s and early 90s, mid to late 90s ones. If you can get a set of used ones like that, I bought a set from Jack the Rabbit that I'm going to put into something. I might get another body or something or build one, But the bottom line is that guitar had the roller nut, it had, that thing was the 2-point bridge though. That thing was a phenomenal guitar, and that's the only guitar I ever had that had the vintage frets on it. So it was a tall, not super tall, but not the jumbo. And I gotta tell you, it was they called it vintage size, vintage fret wire. So wherever they got the fret wire for that guitar, similar kind of to this, not this one. Where is it? Behind me, similar to the Friedman. The Friedman has a similar feel. If you look at the fret wire on this Friedman, okay, let me pull these two up next to each other.
Yeah. Moment, let's make
so
it big.
It's kind of heavy. Okay, so the Friedman's down below. Notice the slight difference in thickness of the fret wire.
Yeah.
Right? It's just a little bit thinner, and I don't know. There's something about the feel of it. It's different.
Yeah,
hard to describe.
I know exactly what you mean because that's something I'm struggling a little bit with this guitar. It also has
vintage tall, I think.
They call it vintage tall. I don't know what's tall on them because they are not high at all.
Well, what that means, just so you know, is that if you had vintage, like if someone's buying a new guitar and you get a vintage fret, they're trying to do it like it's old, worn down. So vintage tall means it has that vintage, but it's not so short like an old fret wire that's been worn down. So vintage tall.
Okay.
But
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it's still not. It's not tall by any means. So,
Right.
Yeah.
If you've ever played an old guitar that has old frets that are so old that they're like almost not there, that's
yeah.
And they're not always easy to play, but there are some guys that'll swear by vintage Strats because of that worn-in feel, just like that guitar, and that guitar is made to be that worn-in feel. Yeah.
Yeah, but
you have to try that one. See if you like it when you're here.
it's
Definitely.
too thin for me. So you will get to try all the stuff.
They
I'm
have
having
those here too. I just played a reddish colored one at Guitar Center just yesterday. Actually, I was messing around on one.
Oh, okay.
The Road Worn, right? They're called the Road Worn series.
Road Worn series, yeah.
Player
That's
series,
the
Road Worn.
Road 150s.
Yeah.
But they have two. They have a Road Worn, I think, modified, is it? I think they have one.
No,
with
no, no, no,
more
no.
modern
It's not
specs.
Road Worn. No, Martin, it's not called Road Worn. It's Vintera. It's the series.
Oh, the
It's the
Vintera
Vintera.
series. But they're phasing those out, so they might rename that something else, right? They're
But the
phasing out
Road
the
Worns
Vinteras,
are
aren't
the
they?
relict ones.
The relic
They're
ones,
all
yeah.
Vintera, but Road Worn are the relict ones, and the others that are like new guitars but with old or vintage specs.
Yeah.
Those are just the Vintera models.
Vintera,
There's this,
okay.
the modified one. That's the successor of the Baja. That's the one you're
Yeah.
referring to, Martin.
Right, yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Pooh Ninja, I love his comments. I remember the
he's-
super
Pooh
full
is
stressed out
amazing.
ashtrays that we had at NASA during the moon launch.
yeah, I would like to go into some comments in the chat. I would
Yeah,
like
let's do
to
that.
welcome Blackjack Guitar. Thanks for joining. Let's go a little bit back over here. Let's start over here. Pooh said he sold his Tech 21 XXL for a patch bay and EHX switchblade ABY pedal.
Yeah, those old pedals, those old whatchamacallits, yeah.
And he was about to trade for a Jam Junior, but someone else was quicker than him.
Okay.
Also with Charles, he's very patient with the used market and tries to really think of what he will buy and keep it. That's also what I'm doing.
I'm
not,
like that a little bit.
A little bit.
But sometimes I
Can you
know
buy
what I
something?
like, and like when I was with Johnny Bean, and he and I met at that San Jose Guitar Center, Santa Clara, San Jose border. We met at that one that he goes to a lot, and they have that really nice vintage room, or not vintage, I mean high end room or whatever, gold premium room. And it has that glass wall of like Les Pauls and all kinds of other great guitars. Anyway, they had the iconic head. He was trying to find one, and they had one there. So he went over there. He played it a day before that or two, and he was wondering if they still had it. So I went and met him down there, and this is like a week after coming back from Peru. And I met him down there, and I told him, dude, I'm buying that thing. I'm not going to leave that here. There's no way. I mean, it just was so amazing sounding through that 4x Marshall cab. I just imagine what it's going to sound like with the one that I have set up here. And, even through that 2x, it's just amazing sounding. But sometimes you have those, like the Meteora that we both bought, Martin. If the crowd in the chat doesn't
Lucas
know.
bought it, not me.
You bought it. Oh, Lucas. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, it was you.
I'm not
Congratulations.
the Meteora buyer. I think it's a cool guitar, but
Just wait till you play it.
I will certainly touch it at Lucas' basement.
Yeah.
That sounds dirty, but yeah.
We'll have to take a sip on that.
Acid moment.
Wash that one down. Wash it down.
Oh my god.
I think Martin completely froze. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
But
Can't touch my Meteora now, Martin. You can't touch my
yeah,
Meteora.
now there's no touching. It's too hot. It's like
Leave the knobs
it
alone.
flew out of the sky. And I thought if they would have done one extra thing on that guitar to make it extra special, because I think all the Vintera style Mexican, like the plus ones, they have that little swoop thing on the headstock, right? Let me see if I can show you what I mean.
No, I think that swoop thingy, that's the Jazz Masters have it as well.
Okay. Well, the swoopy thing, yeah, this thing right here. What they should have done is put a little
Let's
star.
Let's solo you first. It's not in focus.
They should have put some little stars at the end of the swoop.
But
that would have been perfect.
Look where they copied that.
Yeah.
Jazz Master.
Yeah. There you go. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool to stick like a little, come on, some
A
little
little
like
shooting
stars,
star.
yeah, like a little shooting star, like it's a meteor, right? It's like a falling,
Yeah, that would be a cool idea.
right?
Or is a cool idea to put
So I
there.
might actually put a little sticker if I can find one at Michael's. It's like
That's
a
one for the mod
craft
shop,
store,
mod squad.
the Mod
show.
Squad shop. There you go. I can add a little star on the end and make it like a shooting star.
Lucas, I can certainly find some sparkle stickers in my daughter's drawer if you want
Yeah.
one.
Oh,
Yeah,
can I share?
My daughter has
ahead.
plenty of stickers too. I can put a dinosaur there, maybe stuff like
You guys,
that.
your daughter will take care of that. Can I share one other thing with the chat and with you guys too?
Sure.
That's the
Sweetwater,
one.
Sweetwater, as a matter of fact, takes
It's
professional
a bit bright.
pictures.
It's a bit
Come
bright
on.
now. Yeah, no, better.
Come on. The background is white too. It doesn't help.
Yeah.
All right, I was trying to get the whole picture of the guitar. Sweetwater, as a matter of fact, sent me these pictures. These are pictures of my actual guitar.
That's amazing.
This is the actual one, and there's something special that I wanted to show you guys about this.
On the neck.
Yeah, you'll see. Right there. See to this side over here?
Yeah, there's
See,
the
there's
dark
like
spot,
There's like a dark knot, kind of like a...
like a V.
Yeah. And what's interesting is it goes all the way through to the other side.
What?
Yeah, because it's a one-piece maple neck, right?
Oh, so you mean on the fretboard?
Yeah. Oop, I'm going the wrong way. Huh, where is it?
Maybe on the first picture you could see the whole fretboard.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah.
It's there as well.
Right there. See, at the 7th fret.
Yeah, I can see it.
At the
Yeah.
7th fret. So I'm hoping that won't be a problem with the neck warping.
Probably not.
Because that's the only thing that you might have a concern about, something like that. But it's really unique that it has that kind of like what we call in Hungarian, it's got a choke. It has a kiss on it.
This one's got a weird one as well.
Oh, look at that, yeah.
Oh,
Like some worming of some kind.
wrong
Yeah.
glass.
That's the Tele Deluxe. That's pretty unique, this on the neck. But it's the same color as the rest of the wood, so I'm sure it's okay.
And the headstock is a little bigger than your standard.
This
I
one.
think it's. I think the Meteora
Okay, yeah, that might be.
has a little bit of a bigger.
This is the
kind of-
70s. This one's huge.
Yeah, I think it's kind of in between. Here's a made in Mexico neck on this blacktop Strat, right?
Yeah, I have.
If you look
one
at the
as well.
picture of the Meteora, it's got that little bit of that hook, more of a hook on the end of it.
Yeah.
So if you have one of those, you'll see. I think it's just a slight bit little bigger looking.
I'm really curious how the Meteor will feel when you're sitting.
Yeah, I love
holy
it.
shit.
I've played the Meteoras, the other
Yeah,
ones.
you played it.
So
Hey,
and-
Johnny Bean's in the chat.
Hey, Johnny Bean, what's up, dude? He's
for
gonna try to
joining.
join me later tonight. Later tonight I'm gonna try to go live from the show at 7:30 tonight. Johnny's gonna try to help me because I might not have good audio in the middle of a concert, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, he's in Danville, California, home of Danville Music.
Cool.
Good guys.
Yeah, but shall we get back on track? Things that we've
Sure.
sold a bit.
I sold a bunch of pedals, and pedals is a good topic to talk further, because I have many used pedals, because I think that's something you can really buy on the used market, because you are supposed to stomp on them. So why buy them brand new? And I got both the LPD 68 Deluxe and the 87 Deluxe used, and so because it's extremely expensive to import into Europe. From
I was going to
US. You
say
have
that
pay
certain things,
customs and tax and everything, and shipping is like $50, and it's. They
Please
are
don't
worth it,
remind
but
me.
Martin
It's
bought
gonna
all
get
of them
worse,
new.
guys. It's not gonna get better. It's gonna get
Yeah,
worse.
that's true. And I bought them on Reverb and on Willhaben. That's like Craigslist. That's some local thing for Austria. And yeah, I think pedals. It's great to buy pedals used. I think they're ideal. And when I look at, I have a bunch of pedals here. Many of my Boss pedals I bought used because you can probably
Yeah,
most
40,
likely not
50
destroy
bucks.
Boss.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
and you can't destroy Boss pedals, and they're pretty cheap when they're used.
They're
yeah.
almost like maybe just twice the cost of, say, a Behringer pedal or something used, and you're getting a way better pedal.
And they're really relic, like
Yeah.
this DS2.
Those are so cool when you get them old ones like that. Look at that. That is nice.
It's
Yeah, it's so classic.
got pedal scars all
Yeah,
over.
I love that.
And
That's so awesome.
it was so cheap to pick it up used, and it works great. Of course, it would.
I need to do that more.
Everything.
I just, that's something I may regret later on. I just got rid of one pedal,
Which one?
the 68, the original one.
Oh man, see, I'm not selling
you
any
sell it?
original Lawrence pedals.
I
There's
did
no
not.
way.
I did not sell it. I traded it to a friend of ours, Lukas. And
I thought it was just borrowed.
Traded.
First, it was borrowed, and I asked him if he would be interested to trade it at some point if he maybe get something that I could use. So, and he said, yeah, he'd be interested in it. He wants to keep it, and yeah, we agreed on it.
Blackjack guitar.
So-
Yes, pretty much. I got rid of my cold. Just so you know, I'm free to move about the cabin.
And so,
And your package went out, and it's coming to Canada as soon as they can get it to you.
And yeah, so I've traded it, but I don't know yet for what I've traded it.
Oh, so you get to choose.
Yeah, at some point. But yeah, I have the 68 stacked, and it's 268. So what's better than 168? 268.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I liked about the deluxe. I love the purple and how it fades on there, which is really cool the way he had that done. Lawrence,
cool,
has a feel for the aesthetics. I have one of the original Vermin pedals with the black and gold rat on it, and I like his new pedal designs. They're very modern. They look very cool.
And clean.
Yeah, and clean. However, I do kind of like the more personal, almost kind of.
His mini pedals were amazing. They were a work of art. Really.
Those are the deluxe pedal I was talking about, and the 68 is the old design, and I think it also looks really cool. What you can see here, my only criticism about this pedal is that the buttons are so close to each other when you.
It's hard to turn.
I mean with the foot switches, not the buttons. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, interesting.
You sometimes accidentally hit the wrong one, and then you switch to the red channel from the green one, or activate the boost when you don't want to. And it's not that I have huge Bigfoot feet, but they're so close together. And on the 87, you can see they're much further apart. So that's
there's a good point to be
in a
made
live
on that.
situation. That would be really tricky for me with the 68 Deluxe.
I think that's true. I think that's true. A lot of those kinds of combo pedals. One of the things that I kind of messed around with some, and I don't use them on everything, but I messed around with putting those barefoot buttons or some other kind of button that I then modified, and you can do that to change the heights of them, and that's something that can help. Let me show you what I mean. I'll grab this little box over here.
Bye, Pooh. Thanks for joining.
See ya, Pooh. I'll be waiting for that check. But for example, I've done some really fun things with these. So, and you might have seen this mod before. This is my barefoot button mod thing. So, you have these like stick them over, and you can get them in various different sizes, and you can do different height ones. and then I modified them by like sticking like something on it, like the Devil's Tower coin that my brother brought for me from
That's cool.
there. This just has like, you put these on the bottom of your chair so they slip around and don't scratch the wood floor. You can do that so when you're playing barefooted. And then here's another thing. One of my favorite beers from Peru is glue a bottle cap on it, and that works too. So if
Cool.
you have some favorite beers, so you can like do your own custom version. And I just use hot glue. Now, hot glue might not be the best thing to use if you're going to be touring because you might get hot with the lights and everything. You might want to use a
Yeah.
different kind of glue. But, for in my studio, the hot glue is a quick and
No
easy way to
problem.
stick this on there. And then you can do things like this. Take a JHS pin, right? Take the little pin out and glue that on
Yep.
and put it on your JHS pedals.
That's cool.
So there's
Custom.
you can customize your little things, and then you can change the heights of them, and that might help sometimes. You avoiding like hitting one that you might not want to hit.
Yeah.
Hi, House of Twang. Thanks for joining. And Pooh is dropping out. And he said he does not know about the check, but the bag of hair is heading your way.
Hopefully, they stop it at the atmosphere, at the ionosphere. At the ionosphere is where the checkpoint is, at the ionosphere.
Burning.
Or it might just burn up
Yeah.
coming in from the moon
Burn up.
in the atmosphere. Might not get. It might just be a clump of Barbie plastic,
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, do you have a lot of used gear currently in your possession? Because
Me?
we were talking about selling a lot. Both of you in general.
Well,
Both of
as you
and-
know, if you paid attention to my show, you know that I did go a little, wacky, crazy on the used gear stuff this year. And one of the things we're talking about, the used market. Steve from Boston, Philip McKnight, all these guys have been talking about the fact that the gear and music market was hot during COVID for the obvious reason, which is everyone's stuck
Yeah.
at home.
High
But
demand.
high demand, people are bored, they have nothing else to do, why not learn guitar? Now you might see that market softening because people are selling all that stuff that they don't need or don't want. And also the inflation fears are going to push the fear of prices up on other gear they might want to trade for or whatever. Now that's what I did. I did the smart thing is that pre-Black Friday here and pre-Christmas shopping madness, I had a feeling. It was just a gut feeling. And this is something that economists do. And when you study finance and economy, you go with, it's in Trading Places, the movie, you have to, sell the pork fats, the pork butts or whatever, because you know that the guy is got to sell his stock so you can buy the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip. The whole point is that if you need to buy something else and you want to make sure you got the money and cash on hand to get it, you sell other stuff. So I was looking all throughout November and December to see if I get lucky on some amazing piece of gear that I can't pass up. And one of those was the Satriani JS1 guitar, which is a first year model signature Joe Satriani guitar in black. Perfect like condition considering this is a 1991 or 90 guitar, right? And it's in basically immaculate condition. A few, not even buckle wear or worming, just some scuffing on the back, just a little bit on the finish. That guitar I bought for $6.99 used, and I was even saying to the guys at Guitar Center, I'm like, "You guys nuts? Are you sure you want to sell me this guitar? I'm buying it, so it's mine now because I'm holding it. So it's mine. But are you sure about this price? Because do you know, they even called it a vintage on the tag they made, a vintage 90s, 92, 93. And I'm like, you guys, just go on Reverb. They're selling for minimum $2,500, $2,600.
Wow.
I mean, the guy who brought that in, I don't know what he was thinking, but he could have turned that thing around in a heartbeat at, $1,500 on Reverb,
yeah.
So the used market and buying and trading and selling gear, I haven't done any of the selling or trading part yet. But I'm starting to come on to what Lukas is doing, which is, this is a fun way to experience a lot of different guitars and gear that you can have in studio or in your room that you can play on for a while. Not like at a store you go in and play a Meteora once or twice. Over the period of 3 years, I played a Meteora maybe 4 or 5 times. But you can have it in your house and play it every day, 10, 15, 20 minutes or more, for months, and then sell it, or for a year and sell it if you want to sell it. So there's a certain point where it comes to what guitars or gear are you willing to sell that you won't regret. Well, if you have enough of this kind of like churn going on, you might not regret any of it, because you're going to experience so many cool new things all the time. I might regret having sold that Strat that I sold, because I sold that Deluxe Plus Strat so I could afford to go to Machu Picchu with my wife and family when we went to Peru the first time. Yeah. But what did I buy? I bought this. Was my first electric I bought after having sold that one for $450, and it's a phenomenal guitar. And then, as kind of like a pay myself back for selling a really nice high-end Strat, I ended up buying this one. Let me grab this. And this one does not look like this when you get it from the factory. This is the one that's plugged in because I was playing it. But this is my commemorative 60th anniversary commemorative Strat that I changed the pickguard on to be black pearloid to match the pearloid pearloid
inlays.
Inlays, yeah.
It has the gold Spurzell tuners, but they're not locking. But I changed the white kind of pearloid kind of style buttons to these ebony ones. I couldn't find black pearloid ones for these Spurzell mini buttons. I could have them made, but they cost like $80-$90 for a set, and that's just
okay for buttons.
So I got these ebony ones that were basically $6 a pop. 36
They look
bucks.
Great.
And they're great
on this guitar.
And then I just changed out the pickup covers and the knobs to black, and got basically I put the switch lock on that too. You guys know about the switch lock, right?
Yeah.
Got the switch lock on there. Another Ronquillo RJ suggestion. And the only thing I might change on this is I might put the Vega Trem on here because it's just such a sick. But it'll change the feel a little bit, but it's just such a great. And this guitar, they made several thousand of these, of course, but this one was the one that was in between the 1954 60th anniversary. Like, they only made 1,954 of those, and they look exactly like the 54 original Strat. But this one they did with the gold parts, the 2-point locking trem, the cutaway, the micro tilt adjustment for the neck. It's got a pretty good sized, it's not that big of a block, but micro tilt neck and satin finish, as you can tell, satin. And all gold parts, the nice type of string tree. For just over $1,100, U.S. made.
When did that one came out? How old is it?
2014.
Okay, cool.
So that guitar, is unique too, but it's that higher price level. Oops, here we go. Banging up against my acoustic over there. But that replaced that Deluxe Plus in my mind.
Yeah.
For a high-end U.S. made Strat.
Absolutely, yeah.
So how do you feel about paying over, $1,000 plus for a made in Mexico guitar, though, Lucas? What are your thoughts on that?
It costs 999 euros, so I'm good. No, jokes aside, that's pretty much my sweet spot for prices. When I look around in the room, most of my guitars, or I think all of the electrics, I bought them new, and on average they cost around 1,000 euros. So that's pretty good price. Of course, more expensive. The SG was more expensive because that's the Gibson standard SG with the big pick guard, and the American professional guitars by Fender, they were obviously more expensive. But the other guitars are 800, 900, 1,000. So that's okay for me.
My question more is like, compared to the American Strats and the Mexican Strats, do you feel much of a difference, or do you feel like paying? Because I paid $450 for this Mexican Strat, but now we're paying over $1,000 for a Mexican Strat. Or is that okay? I'll tell you what I think, but
For me, it is because
Yeah.
I think I haven't played the Player Plus series yet, but I think the Made in Mexico stuff is pretty great. But I'm looking forward to hold it in the hand and how the neck feels. That's obviously the most important thing about the guitar, other than the looks and humbuckers, of course, or the sound. But I think the neck, that's where you have the most
I think that's
touch it all the
true.
time.
Yeah. Do you have
And
any or much experience playing flatter neck guitars like that? It's a 12-inch radius fretboard.
The Gibsons, I have an Ibanez RG upstairs, so that's fine.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
You're gonna love it. I
Awesome.
mean, that's the Van Halen neck too, basically, but his has got the compound.
The modern C with 12-inch, I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah.
That American anniversary Strat goes from 9.5 to 12, and it's one of the best feeling necks I have outside of the Friedman. The Friedman is like that too. It's just
That's great.
insane neck.
for me, it depends on what you're getting. I would probably not be okay with 1K for your straight from the mill Telecaster. The Road Worn, for example, with the nitro finish on it, is also above 1K. And all the work that's done to it to make the neck feel the way it is,
Right. It's worth it. Yeah.
is worth it, in my opinion. That's not not the same thing, like, for example, with a classic wipe. when I
Right.
grab those,
Yeah.
they feel completely different. You notice that there has been done something to it. Also with the Baja Telecaster, that's just an amazing guitar from one end to another. There
Yeah.
are no complaints for me with anything.
I think the Baja was 850, but it came out some
Yeah.
years ago. So with inflation and the new price is around $1,000 here. Or
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I'm
just
okay with it.
have to look
I'm
at
okay
the
with it.
Wintera.
I'm
It's-
okay with it, considering that Mexico is actually per capita. There are probably more guitars owned by Mexican people and families per capita than in almost any other country. I think you can't go into a Mexican home and not find an acoustic or some electric or something. They're luthiers. The people there, just like in Spain, you wouldn't expect to not find a guitar probably in a home, and I think that to think that you wouldn't get a quality guitar made out of Mexico, there's something wrong with your thinking. There might be some racism involved in that with some people or whatever. Some
I was just gonna say that maybe
But-
you are in the US. Maybe you have a different perspective on Mexico because we're over here in Europe. For me, Mexico is
another
it's just
country. Yeah.
another country.
Yeah.
I don't know any Mexicans. I mean, at university
Right.
there was a Mexican girl, but that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So
So the point being is that there's that controversial kind of part of this argument that some people have in the U.S. about U.S. made versus Japanese made versus made in China versus made in
China.
Indonesia or made in
Yeah.
Czechoslovakia or Czech Republic or whatever.
Korea
And
Korea.
and I think we're starting to break some of these barriers where, getting a U.S. made Gibson, okay, that's every Gibson is made in the U.S. But now you got the Epiphones, and then the PRSs for the longest time were just made in the U.S. But then they have the Korean factory, and then so I think it's been more than a decade of absorbing that outside of the Japanese guitars, which were hot in the 80s and 90s, right? With Ibanez and all these others, BC Rich and others that were leading the way with Japanese made ones because it was just so popular. Japan was buying them, but the thing is, they're buying all the American stuff too. But the thing is, I think that some people will argue, well, I'm not going to pay $2,000 for a bolt-on neck guitar. There's that attitude that you have here in the States in some places too.
What I've heard from listening to quite a few podcasts and videos about luthiers talking about it, and quite a few actually said, a bottleneck is in the end harder to really produce than a set neck, because you have to drill the holes where you fix the neck in the pocket perfectly at the spot. If you do this manually, it's really something where you have to take your time and do it really precisely, instead of putting some glue on it and adjust it while you place it in there.
Right? Don't you wonder why there's so many complaints about Gibson guitars not being consistent?
Yeah.
That might be the part right there that really nails it. You know, getting that glue joint and getting everything, the angle, everything.
Yeah.
You know, just that's the reason why this has a micro tilt adjustment in it. You know, which would be like a piece of sandpaper, used sandpaper in the back of a, you know, the reason that has a micro tilt adjustment on it is because if you want to have it set up perfectly just right and you need it to, something's just a little bit off, you can make that micro tilt of an adjustment. And the really high-end luthiers and the real high-end guys like Jackson and whoever, they know.
That's also a very different thing from the construction itself, because Gibson already has that angled backwards. If this is just a little bit more or less, doesn't really matter this much, because then you just set the bridge a little bit higher.
Yeah,
so
but
for
it
that,
must have
it's a
something
setup
to do with
thing.
it must.
When
people talk about the feel of something, you know, one guitar to another, one Les Paul to another Les Paul, those micro little changes, adjustments, or whatever that might be. Where you feel the difference. Who knows?
But in the end, you always some luthiers really said in this podcast that getting a proper working guitar with a bottleneck is harder to achieve than with a set neck, because with a set neck you can play with other factors in the end to make it playable, get the intonation right. If you miss a screw with did not drill the centering holes for everything, you're screwed. It's it's over.
Yeah. So what else have you guys sold that well, let me ask you guys this, because since I haven't sold anything, why don't you guys try to guess, if I'm going to sell a guitar, out of all the guitars that you know that I have, which one do you think I might sell first? That would be a question for the chat too. I know what Pooh, if he was here, I know which one he'd want me to sell first. But out of all the guitars, which would you sell first, or which one do you think I'm going to sell first?
Which one? See, let me hook on that question for a second, because a few months ago I was really on the verge of selling pretty much all guitars that I'm having, except for the 335 and the one that I've made for my son. Because I thought, well, these two are essentially enough for me to play anything that I like, anything that I want. When I grab a guitar from back there, it's always those. Let's leave out the acoustics. Obviously the National and the Martin and the Harley Benton acoustic, they are something completely different. They are used for something completely different. We're talking about electrics
emotional
here.
Connections and all that,
Yeah, not only this, but a resonator guitar and playing slide on it is something very different from playing slides on an acoustic and on an electric guitar. It just sounds so different. It feels so different. If you place 16 strings on it, it's just not something I can easily replace with another guitar. The Martin, obviously, I think everyone should have an acoustic guitar, and this is my dream acoustic guitar, so it's out of question that one had to go. But also the Harley Benton clone of the Martin, I need something to take with me for hiking, for campfire and so on. That's not something I'm gonna do with an almost $4,000 guitar. So nah. And yeah, so the acoustic ones, they're already pretty much on the minimum that I want to have. But with electrics, I would, anytime I grab an electric, it's like this.
Right. Yeah.
Anytime. I really have to think, okay, I want to do something different. What am I going to take today? But if I just practice something, do something, it's just turn back, grab this one. And yeah, the green one I made myself is another story. That one is promised for my son if he ever starts playing guitar. So that one I can't let go. But that was the thing that I was thinking about it. So in my mind, I still have sometimes the idea of why not reduce it all together to just these guitars. And then I have the thing where I go for the Telecaster now where I've placed 9-gauge strings on it, just so I can practice a softer touch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's not something I want to do on my main guitar. Right? Same with the Road Worn, where I have this, really different feeling of it with a 7.25-inch radius.
You're kind of talking everyone into why they need like 15 guitars, Martin, not just one or two.
I'm explaining why.
That's the problem. Yeah.
I don't think you need 15. You don't need 15 guitars.
You don't need 15 guitars, but you're making a good argument for why we have 15 guitars.
That's the thing. That's the thing why I decided against it in the end, because they feel so vastly different with a 7.25-inch radius. It forces me to play different. I've said it also on the last live stream. I have a love-hate relationship with it.
Mm-hmm. Now that doesn't go compound though, right? So it's just
it's straight 7.25-inch, but
it's gonna just fret out.
No, not at all.
Oh, I thought it was. I thought I heard it turning out a little bit.
That's
there you go.
That's 3 halftones. So 1.5 tone step bend at the, what was it?
Probably like the 18th fret or something, or
15th fret or something like this. So it does not fret out at all. That's if you have a good setup on it, it works. But it's just in general the way I have to play it with the 12-inch radius with my fingers, with the other frets. It forces me to play chords differently. I cannot really properly do with the distance from my joints over here. If I do a bar chord like this, I always have some gap somewhere. I cannot properly fret for the life of me when I'm doing it on this guitar. No problem on the Gibson. I always play with a standard bar chord. On here I have to do the Hendrix approach with
the thumb over.
The thumb over and play a major chord like this. All these kind of things which are forcing me to play different, to practice something different.
Yeah. And that's a good thing, because it makes makes you develop more style.
More style, more skills that I can also use on this guitar in the end. And gives you more ideas. I always notice when I
ideas.
Yeah, when I played on this guitar and I switched back to this guitar, I always notice that I've improved something different, just a little tiny bit on it. So I keep those mainly as practice tools. Yeah.
I don't know if anyone ever said it, but it just popped into my head. I'm sure it probably was said better, but it just popped into my head that mistakes are ideas just being born. They're like something that wasn't meant to happen because you didn't think of it yet, and then all of a sudden you do something that you didn't mean to do, or you did it wrong, but then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, and then it's
This
different, it's
works.
new, and then you've come up with a novel thing, and everyone else is going to say, oh, you're playing that wrong. I remember when I was doing the thumb over the the thumb over on some acoustics, and my sister-in-law would say, you're playing that wrong, you're supposed to, like, and I'm like, there is no wrong.
It works. No, if it
you
works.
know I said, you try to play it your way, standing up,
Yeah.
jumping around at a campfire. It's not going to work. But I can do it this way because I'm holding it, I can hold it up.
Yeah.
And so there's all those arguments to be said. Yeah. Hey, you guys, I don't want to cut it too short, but I have to cut it somewhat short because at 3 o'clock I have to leave to meet my sweetie for a doctor's appointment. So before I head off to the party evening at the Daughtry show and Mark Tremonti, but I can stay on for a few more minutes. But yeah, just wanted to give you a heads up.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Tense.
Yeah, I'm usually playing 11s, so
Mm,
this one has 11s on it.
wow. I can't
I
imagine
have
a strat
10s
with 11s
mostly.
on it. I just
Oh,
couldn't imagine it.
it's not for
different
me
animal.
either. I prefer 10s on most guitars and
Yeah,
9s on strats. That
exactly.
just
That's
feels
pretty much
nice.
me. On the 24 and 3/4 scale, I go 10s. And, the strats, the 25 and a halves, I go 9s. And usually I'll
I
go
think
9 to 46 hybrid. Which, by the
okay.
way, the Meteora is coming with, guess what?
I was
9
just
to
going
46
to
hybrid.
ask, is it? Cool.
That's what the spec is on the Fender website. I looked up all the specs on the Fender website because I wanted to learn more about the pickups. And, there's all secret sauce in that now, too, because they're calling it the Fireball,
Yeah,
which,
the
whatever
Fireball
that means,
humbuckers.
the
Sounds
Fireball
cool.
pickups.
It's a meteor, maybe, I don't know, it's
It's a
supposed to
Fireball,
burn.
yeah. Yeah.
The fireball.
For Fireball, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyway.
Yeah, but I'm currently not planning to sell anything. I'm not planning after buying this guitar yesterday and the deluxe reverb in February. I'm not planning anything else because I got
Me neither.
plenty of stuff. It's for me the main problem now with two kids, and my son's now a month old, so I don't have a lot of time to practice.
Time. Yeah.
So it's just time. I definitely don't need to jump on the argument Martin had to reduce the arsenal to maybe one or two guitars.
Yeah.
I could do as well, because for the time I currently have to play, one guitar would be sufficient. But it's fun. I like having guitars. I like to switch them out, and I'm different to Martin. I'm not always playing my Strat. I like to play the SG. I like to play my Ibanez. Sometimes I play the semi-hollow Ibanez. And I'm taking the PRS, whatever. I'm just rotating all the time.
I think that's kind of a interesting
It's
thing
fun.
because I have more emotional kind of like contact with my musical instruments in that sense, and I find it hard to let one go. It's kind of like selling a child, even though it's not a child. It's almost like that to me. I get that emotionally attached to these things. I get emotionally attached to their story.
All
the
of them,
story
or
of how
just
I bought them,
specific ones?
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting. For all of them, or just specific ones?
Pretty much each one. And that's why what's funny is the one that I won is the one out of everything that I'd probably sell. I'd probably sell that Modern Player Telly that I won at Guitar Center because I don't play that guitar very much. And it always sat at the end of the wall here, I don't play that one very much, and maybe it's just because it's a Telly and I don't play Tellys very much. And it has a different kind of that Nashville kind of setup anyway, so it's not really a Telly. It's got the humbucker in the bridge and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it's almost kind of like a hybrid Telly. So I don't even really know what a real Telly's like. And then the other Telly I have is that one that I got from my brother-in-law, which is that thin line G&L, solid ash body, but the, semi-hollow. And that's a completely different feeling guitar. But the bottom line is that out of all the guitars that I have, which one I might sell first, it's probably one of the cheapest ones that I have, which is that made in China one, which makes no sense. Because you would think that if I wanted to sell for profit or something like that, I'd turn around and sell the Satriani, or I'd turn around and sell the the Friedman, because those are both guitars I got at a really deep discount and can sell for easily twice or more than what I paid for them and make money on them. But then the argument is that if I want to make money on them, then I'd want to hold on to them until the very last minute that I need the money, which I don't need right now.
True.
And the point of, like, what I told my wife when I bought all these things, my rationale is that, well, these are like little investments, because each one of them I got at a really good price, except for the full price ones like what you and I just bought. And I bet you, just like the Faulkner guitar, that's the first model Richie Faulkner designed custom with the headstock that has the, let me grab that for you guys. It has the Judas Priest logo and everything on it. This is the first one that he had, made as a signature guitar. And the guy almost died recently too with that, aortic aneurysm on stage while he was finishing a solo to a song. This is a unique guitar, and yeah, it's an Epiphone, and yeah, it's a, $1,100-$1,200 Epiphone. But look at what they're going for now. If you can even find one for sale, you can't even find them.
Yeah.
So the thing is that guitars like this, like the Meteora, it's like a first run model of the actual, not a prototype alternate universe thing or whatever, but it's an actual run. Now that's going to become like the Strats, where you're going to see them out there. They might even make an American one someday, like that Telebridge setup one that they did with Jim Root in that video, and he actually plays one on stage. So not all the time, every song, but he does pull it up there. So the thing is that it's a really weird one. It's that one with the block inlays. It's that yellow kind of. Remember, that's the first
model, the Parallel Universe. Was it, right?
Parallel Universe. Those are the first. That was the first one. So the point being is that the ones that are worth more are also the ones that I probably want to sell further down the line. But
for me it's the same. It's just thinning out the herd, so to speak. Just get rid of what you don't play, what you don't need.
Yeah.
I would only sell my favorite guitars as the last ones as well, because my favorite guitar is my American Professional Strat, because I got that one for my 30th birthday, so I also have kind of sentimental value attached to it, and it plays fantastically. So it's just awesome guitar, and also the neck it's my favorite neck on that one, and I hope the Meteora neck is somewhat similar with the Modern C. Then it's perfect.
So yeah, that's my thing, is that out of all the guitars, it might be that one or it might be this one that I sell first. Just because it does a thing, it does a great thing well. It's a really nice guitar, but I'm a Strat guy. I don't know what to say. I like the semi-hollow bodies and the Gretches too, and I have those as well. I have the D'Angelico, which is my daughter's. So, the last guitar I'm ever going to sell is the Henning Pauly guitar, Pooh, because that one you'll have to pry from my last breath body as I go. You're going to have to pull it away from me. Or my wife will sell it to you because you're on the top of the list there.
The waiting list for that.
the death list. Anyway. So that's all I got to say. And this is a topic that we could have gone into deeper too, as you guys mentioned, about the overall market.
And all.
Yeah. I see interesting things coming into the future of the market. I think McKnight was talking about, buy your cabs and heads now if you want to get, tube amps and heads, and if you want to get cabinets that aren't expensive, because of the cost of the Baltic plywood and just the manufacturing is going to start to skyrocket. I mean, imagine this. Imagine if we start sanctioning China because of their collusion with Russia. Then how our price is going to be affected, and manufacturing and everything. I mean, from iPhones to whatever. I mean, the world could be turned upside down here. So,
Yeah, I just bought some tubes.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Did you watch that Pete Thorne show?
I did.
We were talking about it today.
No, did not watch it yet.
He went into that in depth about tubes and why we should or should not worry. And a lot of people are buying up stocks of tubes now.
I did not buy up much stock, but I just bought two pairs of power tubes for my JTM, and
Just in case.
yeah,
Just
and
in case.
two rectifier tubes. Yeah, because I thought in general the last time I had one power tube fail once already. So and I had to wait until everything was here and I could replace it and get the amp repaired. So I thought in general about having a set here and why not have a second one? So that's
Are there Russian tubes in that one?
yeah, KT66.
Hmm.
That's okay. Yeah.
And it's
And-
hard to find a good matched pair. That's the
Yeah.
other thing is you want a balanced, setup pair like what PRS does. Is
Yeah.
they, and Mesa too, is they sell them only in matched sets. So it gets more
That's-
expensive that way.
That's what I did. I bought the Tube Amp Doctor, the matched
Mhm.
set.
That's where you buy them. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Pete Thorne was talking about that guy and a couple other places where you can
Okay.
get your tubes. So I can see a run on the market on tubes. I can see that happening in the market,
Definitely.
and then there might be some after effect of this whole fiasco in Europe.
I'm not sure if maybe the producers start to increase the prices for the digital stuff now, so they see, because maybe some people switch from tube amps to digital stuff, like the Tone Master amp by Fender. It's switch camera here.
Maybe,
Here's the Tone-
yeah.
Here's the,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Tone Master
That's a
Deluxe
great amp,
Reverb, and
yeah.
that's all digital. So maybe because everyone was talking like tube amps are dying. That's maybe for a couple of years now. But what's in the future? Is it all digital? And that's a digital amp. Not,
And
I
you've got the
don't think
micro
it will
tube
replace
thing
it.
too. The micro tubes made in Japan.
Those
new
sound
tubes.
great in the box. The
tubes,
new
yeah.
tube, the Korg new tubes, they sound great as well. Yeah, so there are
So-
alternatives. We will see.
We will see.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to go soon, you guys. It's already getting close to where I've got to head out.
All
But
right.
Thanks for
Yeah, you wanna-
staying with us.
you guys can keep going if you want to. I don't want to end your show by leaving. But if you want to say au
I'm not
revoir to
sure.
me,
Martin, do you want to stay longer? I'm getting
guys
a bit
could-
tired now. You know, I'm under the weather a little bit. So.
oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I think we'll wrap it up here, right?
All right.
Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks Laz for being here with us. And yeah, I think we still have some things with this topic.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Things
Hey,
we
people in the chat, you can maybe throw some thoughts in the comments about what you thought about the
Yeah.
topic and some of your, guitars you wish you hadn't let go. Which ones, are you thinking about selling to buy something else, or what
Yeah.
might you sell? If you're going to sell
think-
something this year.
I think we should also go once more into the topic of what would we never buy used, and
That's a
what
good one. Maybe that's a
is-
separate
is-
entity.
Yeah, and something that we will probably not ever buy new. Maybe there's also
That's
something
a good
like
one.
this.
Yeah, I'll think about. Have me back, and then we'll go into that one.
Sure,
We
you're
will
welcome
have
anytime.
You're
That'd be
absolutely
awesome.
welcome anytime. And so we will have a part 2 of this
Part
podcast.
two.
Or
Yeah.
live stream, not
There you
podcast,
go.
sorry.
Awesome.
All right. Les, it was great having you. Have a great day and enjoy the show in the
Thanks.
evening.
And
Have fun.
hopefully, if some of you guys are still awake, unlike these two, they'll be sleeping in their cozy beds.
Yeah.
Later tonight at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, and that is 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. And I'm not sure what that is over there. I think it's like 3:30 in the morning or something. right?
3:30, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the time zone change because I don't know if it's
That's in 2 weeks for us.
2 weeks. So I'll be at the Mark Tremonti Daughtry show at the San Jose Civic, where the last time I was there, I saw Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo doing the Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo tour, and that was awesome. Previous to that, I saw Petrucci there. Right before well, not right before, but I think the November or October before the big thing happened in 2020. Anyway, that ended all tours. But yeah, I'm gonna try to go live from inside the show. So we'll see if that works. Because 7:30 it might already be on, but maybe not. So Johnny Bean will be in with me too. He's gonna kind of join around 7:35, 7:40 or so. And don't forget, Sunday in the morning I'm gonna do the typical Sunday morning Guitar Mods Squad show. So you guys are
And
awake at that hour. It's like
yeah, and
early for you.
Sunday evening, Ben allowed me to come on his 320 show with whiskey instead
Oh.
of the green stuff.
That's great.
So,
Well, maybe
I'll
you could
be-
go out and find some Irish beer or whiskey, and it'll be green.
Green stuff.
yeah, it's
True.
Yeah.
he's not talking about that green stuff.
Yeah, I know. I know very well. All right, you guys, I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna go.
All right.
Okay, have a good one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye everyone.
Bye bye.
Here's the end of show music.